What's up, guys? I'm gonna make this video kind of quick, kind of not. We'll kind of see how it goes, but I didn't really continue this series I wanted to do on doing the bags. I posted like everything on TikTok, but I kind of get level-headed and I just want to get it done. So I kind of slacked a little bit in that aspect, but in a lot of the videos I shot portrait, not landscape, so it would just look weird on YouTube. I'm going to try to make a video now and go over kind of like the measurements and how I did it, blah, 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 you know, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully it would help you guys out if you did want to do this yourself. It's not too bad, it's not too hard, and I do want to go over too on some other stuff that we got going on. Stuff that's coming in the mail like within today and tomorrow. That's going to be pretty cool for the truck for Atlantic City. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I guess we might as well just start in the back. So I did end up paint matching the door handles. Mirrors on the way for paint match. I paint matched the dash bezel, the trim piece over here. I paint matched the cup holder thing. So that looks good. I fixed my trim piece over there because that would always fall off because I didn't cut the leather enough. So that's all fixed. Yeah, it's a little bit messy in here now because it's still got stuff going on. But these are my switches for the airbags. We got tank pressure, bag pressure. The wiring's done pretty nice. I got everything up and through grommets. Nice wire loom there. I still got to run the rest of the sensor wires in the wire loom. She's a little angry. I do have to figure out, sometimes whenever you get these clusters made, the airbag light comes on. Now, there's nothing wrong with the airbags at all. That's just, the LEDs kind of do that. Like when you turn the lights on themselves, like the blinker lights come on. I accidentally knocked this one loose, so I actually have to take that one back out and fix that. But got good oil pressure. But the nice part about running dual compressors is the bags, or the tank fills up really fast. I mean, this was all the way down apparently, and then it's already at 150 pounds. I still have to figure out where it's leaking because the bags do leak down. I think it's because my lines aren't a perfectly straight cut. I used the cutter that it comes with, but that thing sucks, so I ended up buying another one. I'm going to try it out, see if that fixes it. But see how fast this thing airs up. And that's running about 90 pounds in them. I don't know if that's too much or not, but we're gonna find out. So, I guess we might as well start with the bags. I mean, if you watched the other part, then you probably saw how I did that, where I got the center and then drilled the holes for these. So I got these mounted up. And then I think I bolted the bracket up and kind of had it sitting there mocked up. The biggest problem, or biggest hard part, was trying to figure out the pinion angle. Now, I didn't know how to do that. I had no idea, didn't even think about it whenever I was taking everything apart. And if I were to do this again differently, I would have welded a bracket from the axle to somewhere on the frame to hold it exactly where it sat when he took it apart. But what I ended up doing was I went on the crank and leveled my angle finder to the crank because I'm on a hill right now, but 0 is the crank because you're on the drivetrain. So I got that. Then I went to the back of the transfer case at the pinion. I got my angle there, which was 0.3. Then I came back here and got 0.3. So if you can see, the drive shaft is not perfectly flat, which is not what you don't want it perfectly flat, but you want your pinions to be parallel, and that's what they are now. So once you get that, it makes everything a lot easier because then you can start welding. From my front to back measurement, I measured this bolt right here. I measured the outside to this to the center of the old leaf spring hole there, and I got it pretty damn close from both sides. Now I was able to adjust it with these bars, which I still have to tighten. But yeah, you can adjust it kind of a little bit as long as you don't mess up your pinion angle too much. Now the panhard bar, I did end up boxing this in just because it made me feel better. I got 1/4-inch steel and boxed that in, so that thing's not going anywhere. And a lot of people run them from passenger side to driver side, but I opted to go from driver side to passenger side because I did not want to have to mess with shocks or anything like that. Everybody said that it was going to hit and blah blah blah, and no, it doesn't. And as you can see, that thing is pretty parallel. I mean, it's got some angle to it, but it's nothing extreme. So whenever you air down, this thing's almost perfectly level, which is great. Because I set it at half height, like I said I was gonna do in the beginning. But yeah, what else is there? So the panhard bar comes as a longer length. Now I could have ran it closer to the bags, but I did want to have a little bit of space, and I didn't want to mess with the brake lines too much. So I ran the brake lines underneath it, which works because I can always just put different brake lines underneath it. If I ever wanted to replace them, which I probably end up will at some point. But yeah, once I got that and got that centered, I went from my frame to 0 on my wheels here, so like right here, and I got my left to right measurement. Now you can always adjust that too with the panhard bar, because obviously the truck does move side to side, and whenever you air up and air down, it's going to naturally pull just because the panhard bar can't move like that. So it's always going to kind of go on an angle whenever you're not running a Watts link. But for the price for the Watts link, it ain't worth it to me. Not for my application, maybe for a racing application. But yeah, so now we got over the suspension, and you guys know I did put a plate on there with 1/4-inch steel to weld the brackets to for the front 4 links. I just did that so that way it was almost like a stiffener plate. And what I also had to make sure of whenever you're ordering this, if you order this from Infamous Fab, is you do want to measure like center axle out to where you want it to be on the frame. Now I went with 34-inch bars, which gives you another, I don't know, 2 inches both ways, or 2 inches of adjustment. Like right now my heims are set at, I guess these are kind of considered heims, not really, but they're set at halfway, so the bars are like 35-ish, which is fine. I mean, it works perfect because they're just about in the old mounting spots. Now I did have to grind the bed mount, or the cab mount right here, or yeah, the bed mount for that. I had to grind that off just in order to get enough space in there. And don't mind this is just, I was just tempering this for the bags. I gotta reroute this. I'm gonna probably put it up under here, so that way that's hidden. So I got my heat shrink here, because you know we do shit right around here. Now let's go over the airline that I got going on here. So what I ended up doing was totally disregarding my whole air setup that I had before with my fancy little plates that I made and all that stuff that looked really cool because I wanted to be neat. But turns out that wasn't going to work. There was too many connections, too much shit going on, and it just wasn't proper. So what I ended up doing, and I ended up getting all 1/2-inch lines. So I ended up getting 1/2-inch lines for 1. I ended up getting 1/2-inch Vixen air valves for 2. And what I did was I got a brass male, female T. Now I have 190 coming off that going to my bags. Now you might see this and go, oh, why is that like that? It's a longer, because whenever you air up, you have to have some sort of play in it, or else if I would have ran this completely tight to there when I was aired down, it would just pull the line right out whenever you air up. or bust your fitting. Now, I could shorten this a little bit just because this is tight now. I could probably shorten it a little bit, but it's not really that big of a deal. Another thing that I did was I ran a T off of the bag. Now, it's a male, female, female T. Now, with this, I have a reducer that goes from 1/2 inch to 1/8 inch for my bag pressure sensor. I ran the sensor a lot closer to the bags, a lot more accurate read. And it's obviously the same on both sides. You have your air in from the tank going into this T here, going into this side of the air. Air flows this way. So I got my air from my tank coming in, goes into my valve, that's my up switch, activates this, boom, shoots air into the bag. This shuts after you turn the switch off or let go of the switch. Now if I dump, activates this, shoots air back up this way and out that way. I have silencers on it right now. I'm probably just going to take them back off just because it sounds cool. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm sorry if I'm going fast with this. If I were to make a super in-depth video, I could be here for hours. We got everything all nice and ran in the nice wire loom. I still got to tuck some stuff up like this. I got to tuck this up a little bit. Probably just zip tie it up to that there. Call that good. I got to zip tie these wires up in here. This shit's dirty. I got to wash all this under here and then paint it. Get everything painted. I'm not a professional welder. Again, I burn this shit in though. This stuff she's hot. She's good. I don't think this is going anywhere. I think you could pull on this thing with a freaking, I don't know, but I don't think this thing's going anywhere. Yeah, let's go into the bed and look at the compressors. Alright, so as you can see, we got the compressors and the tank here. Now, these are just mounted down with screws. Since I do have plywood in my bed. These are just, I don't know, I got them off of Amazon. They seem to work great. They fill up pretty fast. They get fucking hot though. Yeah. So essentially, the way the wiring works for these is I have 4-gauge wire coming from my battery going to the top of this relay here. Now you need one of these relays, 80 amp relay, if you're going to be running dual compressors. The reason for that is you shouldn't tandem 40 amp relays together. It'll burn the relay, probably catch your truck on fire, burn down. So you want to run this 80 amp from Vixen, I believe it is, that I got. It's not that expensive and it works great. So I got my power coming from my battery to this terminal here. I got my power going to my compressors from this terminal here. I have the power coming from my sensor, my pressure sensor for the compressor turnoff running right here. And this doesn't matter. You can run your positive here, your ground here. The relay doesn't know until you hook them up. So this doesn't matter, whichever way it works for you. And I have my grounds tandem together here going for the compressor. Now you could do it a little bit differently. There's other ways, but this is the way that I seem to work for me. You could ground this with a smaller wire. Now I didn't, just because of the simple fact of normally whenever you're doing things like this, you want to run big ground, especially if you got big power. That's just from my understanding from whenever I read about this stuff. I got a 4-gauge ground wire going out. But yeah, I think that's really it. You got to run your accessory turn on for your pressure sensor anywhere, whether you just want to run it to a switch or whether you want to do key on like I do, because obviously every time I turn the truck on, if I need air, I need it to come on. So it's just going to be automatically on. It kicks on whenever it needs to, does its own thing. That's fine by me. So that's run to add a fuse. I forget which one I put it on. I think it's on my 4-wheel drive right now. But yeah, so that goes there. Then you got it to run. This also doesn't matter which one's which because it doesn't know until you hook them up for your power and your accessory. And then I have my tank pressure right there. I have the right side airbag, that side, left side airbag. And then I have them ran through little rubber grommets going through the bedside there. This is about as neat as I'm going to probably make it. I did run most of it in a nice wire loom, but I'm probably just going to leave that. That way if I need to get to these wires, God forbid something happens, I can just yank them out. But yeah, just tighten it up like that and she's good. I got to fix the wires underneath and tape them all up and put them in wire loom and make it look all nice. So, but it's fairly simple as long as you can kind of get an idea for it. It's really not that hard. Also want to do another quick shout out to Sun X Tools for hooking it up with these 10-ton jacks. These things are a lifesaver. You can get them on Amazon. They'll run you about $300, but it's especially nice whenever you can just throw them up under the frame and just air down and truck's jacked up. So makes it a lot nicer, a lot safer than blocking up wood and shit like that. I hate having to deal with all that, but I did also put the black trim back on. I'm kind of digging it. Sorry if I'm bad at explaining things. I try my best. This stuff makes sense in my head. It's just hard for me to put it into words sometimes. But what we have here is something else that I wanted to go over in this video because I think tomorrow it's possible that I could be making another video of what this is going to be. So what we got here from good old Yamazon had good reviews, so we went with it. If it catches fire, then oh well. It's probably backwards for you, but big 3 upgrade kit. Oh yeah. Damn. That's some big wires. So this is 1 gauge. I don't know, I think it's OFC. I'm not sure. It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it. It's not CCA, I think it's OFC. So we have a 250 amp alternator coming from MechMan, which is amazing. So what I ended up doing was I fired the truck up, turned the lights on, and hit the bags, and noticed that the lights dimmed. And I was like, that's not gonna work, you know. I can't be having my lights wanting to turn off whenever I'm airing up or airing down. So I got too much stuff hooked onto the stock alternator. I mean, not on the alternator, but the alternator just can't keep up with. I mean, I got a 2,000 watt amp, 1,200 watt amp, 1,200 watt enclosed sub with obviously an amp. I mean, the speakers, the radio, the rock lights, the wheel lights, the bed speakers, the freaking, I mean, the LED lights, you shouldn't take too much power, but they probably do. And now I got these big solenoids in the back that take a ton of power. And all of that combined just all at once is just, it's not cutting it. So I ended up emailing MechMan. They got back to me the next day. Told them what I was trying to do. See if they want to be a part of the build, and they were nice enough to give me a discount. It's not fully sponsored, but I'm still willing to rep them. I mean, they were a super big help. I think Tony over there, if you guys ever need help, ask for Tony. He's a cool dude. Told me everything I need to know. He said that 240, he said you should get a 250 if you're doing what you're doing, just because it's new, it's updated, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's just going to be better, and it was only a little bit more money, especially with the discount that they gave me. It was well worth it. So I got a black one coming. I told them my time frame when I needed it by, because I'm going to be away from the 24th to the 31st. So this week and next week is like my grind weeks, and then the last week is finalizing everything, make sure everything's good, drive it, take it down the road. I got to drop it off at 10 on Monday. So I have to get this thing running by this weekend, running and driving. which I still need to bleed the brakes because I did the MBS master cylinder upgrade. Whew, way more money than I wanted to spend this year. So I'll probably do this now, so that way it's prepped and ready for the my alternator coming. Yeah, I'm probably gonna leave these open too. I don't think I'm gonna cover these with wire loom. I think I want people to know I got the big 3. I don't know, I think it looks cool. So my understanding is you got alternator to battery, right? Alternator to battery, and then you got battery to ground, and then alternator to ground on the battery, right? I think that's right. Sounds right to me. I don't know. I'll probably look it up quick and then I'll know. But yeah, so we got that. And then also what we got coming is something I'm super excited for. Something that I haven't quite seen much myself. And sorry if I'm doing a lot of rambling. I just kind of want to keep you updated on what's going on. And I got a smooth wiper cowl coming for this thing. I didn't even know they made them. They're like $100. I found it on, I think, KBD body kits. I thought they made body kits for cars. Apparently they make parts too. But it's like a smooth wiper cowl. You know, like the one that's all super grooved up on the top up there. So that's gonna look sick. I'm gonna paint that. I looked it up, and yeah, it is positive going to your alternator, and then positive going to the battery, negative going to the frame, and then negative coming from your alternator going to your battery. He did say that, or it says that you could ground it to the frame from your alternator, but Tony from MechMan told me to run it from my alternator to my battery, so that's what I'm gonna do. You can also tell, got a new fan shroud. Looks awesome. I mean, that just something so simple, cleans everything up a lot. I did get a black alternator, just so it turns out that they had one ready to go in stock, so we went with that. Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of work in here this past couple months. I mean, everything, I mean, it still looks old. It is old. It's 30 years old. But I went and cleaned up all the wiring. I got 2-gauge coming off my battery running to this bus bar here, and then I got all my accessories on here. Everything's nice. Got my relay there. I threw some nice wire loom over top of some stuff, ran a nice wire loom across the top there, cleaned up all the rock light wiring that I had just kind of thrown in here, taped up, looks like garbage. And then I did tape up a lot of the wiring harnesses that I could get to, just kind of make things look a little more modern. Ran some nice wire loom from my fuse panel across to my battery. But yeah, I mean, just trying to clean it up a little bit at a time. I painted the fender wells and stuff like that. Just little stuff here and there. But that wiper cowl is going to go here. If you're not sure, it's just going to be a nice smooth panel across the top there. You're still going to have your wipers. I'm not sure if there is wiper fluid mounts. Not a big deal. I mean, I don't really drive this thing too much to need where I would really need wiper fluid. I would just clean the window, I'd just take it to shows and whatnot. But yeah, let's see if we can kind of get this thing situated here and maybe get this ground ran from the get it on the battery, get it ready to go on the alternator, and the same thing, maybe get this ground on the frame so that way that's ready to go. Alright, so what I got done so far is I cut these old like insulator things off the old battery. I did the right thing and I cut that alternator wire totally out instead of just cutting it off and taping it. I took that off and then I redid it with a new eyelet, I guess, heat shrink, and then I also, instead of running that on the fuse box power, I put a new connector on that. So I have my 2-gauge and then my 0-gauge, or 1-gauge, yeah, 1-gauge running off this little thing here, so like adapter stud thing. And I just have them sitting up here for now. I'm gonna wait till I get the alternator, just because I don't know if I need to cut it here or here, and I don't want to cut it too soon, and kind of wish I didn't. So I'm gonna wait for that. Now, what I'm gonna do for the ground is, normally the ground is like right here for the battery. I'm gonna run it from here down through underneath, and I'm going to run the ground to frame right where the I think it's a starter ground and engine ground. There's a hole right here. There's a ground right there. It's a 13mm bolt, and I just am taking a file, shining that all up. I'm going to connect it to there, reconnect those ground straps, run that up to the battery. That's going to be my new battery ground. It's probably going to work better than it did before, because when it was just grounded right here to the body, and I think to the engine block. I'm not sure. I think it's down underneath there. Yeah, so ground from here, alternator, ground, frame, power, alternator, done. I mean, look at the difference in the wire size from the old alternator. I mean, this is tiny. This is probably like, I don't even know, 10 gauge maybe? Small. Look at the difference. Huge difference. It's going to allow a lot more power. It's not going to heat up. That'll be nice. Alright, we got that ground wire ran from the frame. Got everything crimped up, heat shrunk up, connected to the battery. It does work. I checked. This wire, I got to disconnect it because this wire is hot right now. Yeah, so don't touch that to anything metal. Don't ask me how I know. But yeah, this is all hooked up. Everything works. So get that alternator in there. That takes 2 seconds. It's like 2 bolts. Pops right out. Nice part is I can keep using my belt that I have with the 250 series that they have. It's a bigger pulley size, so you don't need another belt, which is good. Yeah, I think that's about it. It's pretty self-explanatory from there, really. Just bang, hook that up to the ground on the alternator. Probably a bolt. Maybe this one, or maybe it has a stud for ground. But yeah, there's the big 3. I think it runs about $100 on Amazon. Well worth it, especially if you want to do any audio upgrades or anything electrical. Well, I think that's going to be it for this video. Next one, I might do a video doing the taillights, painting them and stuff like that. Maybe painting that cowl. I have to go run to the store, get a spray bottle to check for leaks in my airbags, and kind of figure out what I got to do about that. Get that all done. I need to get some sandpaper. And a few other miscellaneous things. But yeah, I hope that it helped out a little bit on the airbags themselves. I mean, if you have any questions, just let me know. I can try my best to explain. Infamous Fab again is where I got the 4-link universal kit. It's not meant for this truck. Axle size is what matters. You need to know your axle size to get the right 4-link brackets and stuff like that. But yeah, they have everything you need. Bag mounts, they can do custom stuff, whatever you need. If you want cool custom cutouts for extra cost, obviously they ended up hooking it up with the bigger bag mounts and the panhard bar mount, which is really nice of them. I still paid for them, but they made them bigger for me, no extra charge. But yeah, big shout out again to Tony over there at McMahon. Thanks for helping out and getting back to me really quick. So yeah, stay tuned for the next one. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to do these weekly or every couple days. Probably really no schedule. But yeah, you guys can like, subscribe, I guess, and let me know what you think in the comments. See you in the next one.